Welcome back to this week's episode of TGIM. Everyone, I want to keep this really short, really sweet, and I hope really inspiring. I was on my friend Mike's podcast the other day and he said, "Tell me your story." And then he asked about how I met Kayla and how did we get into money mindset and money manifestation and money for entrepreneurs and all of these sorts of things. And in this conversation with him, as I was telling the story, he was like, "Wow, you need to do a podcast on how you went from being a broke ass teacher," which is what I was, with 3 credit cards that were maxed out, and then had a $10,000 day the very first time we ever launched something in our business, how we made that happen. So that's what I'm going to tell you about today. I'm going to keep it really short and sweet. If you are a teacher, if you are somebody who has an online business, if you are somebody who works a corporate job, 9 to 5, whatever it might be, no matter where you're at, if you are feeling broke or living paycheck to paycheck or feeling like you want to make more money and you're unsure why it's not happening, I'm not saying that this formula is the be all end all, that it will work for everybody, but I'm going to tell you exactly what I believe helped us have a $10,000 launch the very first time we ever put something out there. So when I was said broke ass teacher, I had left my teaching job in Northern Alberta. Many of you know this already, so I'm going to say it really quick and summarize it. I decided to leave that job and move overseas to Australia for a year. In my mind, I thought it was temporary. I thought it would just be 1 year, and then I was going to go back to teaching. And in that 1 year while I was in Australia, I ended up racking up a couple of credit cards. One had a $3,000 limit and the other 2 had 5. And I had built these up over time in my mind thinking like, when I make more money, then I'll start to pay these back. But what happened was I was loving my life so much in Australia, and I was loving not teaching and not following that career path. And I was doing little odd jobs here and there to make just enough money to be able to like pay my rent in Australia, go out to eat, and then take little side trips. My priorities, you can really see where my priorities were lying. I'm like in Australia, but I want to bop over to Thailand. You know, I was waitressing, I was teaching yoga, but I certainly wasn't making money to pay off my credit card debt. Now, what happened while I was in Australia that is the key game changer here is I saw proof of another way of working. I was seeing so many people working from laptops in cafes along the beach, and I had not previously seen that before. I had went to school, got my undergrad, did a little bit of traveling, but more in Canada. And I went down to Hawaii with some girlfriends, Guatemala, China. I did these like other little trips, but they were all in the vein of either going to party or like, for example, the Guatemala and the trip to China. Those were both when I was in school. And so they were more academic trips or like volunteer trips. Then I end up going to school to become a teacher. Then I become a teacher. And so my surroundings are all people who are really academic and who really want to climb the teacher ladder. That was my reality, seeing all of these people become academic and want to continue to climb that corporate ladder. Anyhow, this is what I'm up to. This is what I see. I go to Australia. My point of view, my perspective starts to shift. This is really, really important. If you are feeling stuck, you need to put yourself in an environment where you can have a perspective shift, where you can start to see proof of what else is available. So without even knowing that I was looking for the proof at the time, I would say that was step 1 of going from being broke ass teacher to starting an online business and having a $10,000 launch. I started to look for proof of other ways of working, of having a career, of making money. Now, my year visa is up in Australia. I moved back to Canada and I moved to Victoria, BC, where I now live. It will almost be my 8th anniversary here. On July 18th, it'll be 8 years. So I actually fly and go stay with my sister who lives just outside of Seattle. I stay with her for like 2 months. And then I say, okay, I want to move to Canada, but I don't want to move back to Alberta where I was teaching. And I don't want to move to Nova Scotia where we grew up. I want to live near you. So I want to live in British Columbia and I want to live on the island. I had come here before in 2010 for a vacation. So my sister helps me get set up and get a job at Lululemon. Again, I'm not making stellar money and I'm not making enough to have extra to pay off the credit cards. So I still have these credit cards. We flash forward a couple years from 2017 to late 2019, and I get introduced to Kayla. Now, at the time, I love manifesting and I could manifest trips. I could manifest experiences. I could manifest vacations. I was manifesting all of these incredible things, but I actually wasn't thinking about manifesting money because in my mind, I was always applying the money to the person, place, experience, or thing that I desired. I wasn't just desiring cash or like money to sit in the bank. I didn't have that viewpoint. I didn't have that perspective. I was just like, how can I have this trip? How can I go away on this vacation? I'm really adventurous. I was really nomadic at the time. So I meet Kayla, whose passions, mine were into manifesting. Kayla's passions were in money. She had the Money Edit, a blog that she'd been creating. Kayla is and was really passionate about learning how to invest in the market and real estate investing and growing your wealth with dividends and compounding your own money, having your money making money. This is what I said to my friend Mike, Kayla was the very first, not just woman, person who ever talked to me about investing. Nobody had ever talked to me about investing before. I'm at this time, if this is 2019, it's 2025. I'm 39. I'm like 34 at the time. And I've lived 34 years without anybody telling me that there was another way to have your money make money, or that rather than just having a savings account, which I also wasn't doing because I didn't have the belief in savings. This is what I really need you to know. My belief system didn't say save money. My belief system said live now. You don't know when you're going to die. Spend all of your money on good times and experiences. There's no need to set yourself up for when you're retired or old. That will figure itself out later. This actually served me really well because I've lived a really fun, enjoyable life and I had some credit card debt. So I tell my friend Mike about how I meet Kayla, and then in early 2020, we're in person together for the very first time, second time, but first time really knowing one another. And we're standing in line at Freshie, a little fast food salad restaurant here in Victoria. And I don't know how it got brought up, but something that Kayla said allowed me to open up and tell her, and I believe she was the first person I ever told, that I had credit card debt. And I was like, so embarrassed by it. I said, you're not going to believe how much I have. I've never told anybody this. It like eats away at me. I feel like I'm never going to get it paid. And she was like, okay, how much do you have? And I said, I have 3 maxed out credit cards. And she said, okay, but how much do you owe? And I was like, almost $15,000. And she was like, okay, that's pretty doable. You can pay that off. But I couldn't see how. And this was the second piece to the puzzle. So the first piece of the puzzle is look for the proof. Go from broke ass teacher to making $10,000 in a day. First one is look for proof. Second one is have an accountability buddy, have someone you trust, have community, have coaches, have anyone that you can start to open up to and share where you're at, but more importantly, where you want to go. So I open up, I share with Kayla where I want to go. I tell her, I want to be debt free. And I want to, for the first time ever, I actually want to understand how money works. I want to understand how can I take the vacations, but also set myself up so that I've got some savings. How can I pay off my credit card, but also take all the trips that I want to take? By meeting Kayla, already finding the proof that there's a way to make money on my computer, open up to her, tell her where I'm at, tell her where I want to go. She says, how do you want to get there? I'm like, I'm really into manifesting. I just did my coach training. I know that she just did her coach training. We start this conversation. Early 2020 rolls around. Of course, we all know the world shuts down, announcement of the global pandemic. And Kayla and I were both coaching for this other woman, and she lets us go. That could have been the end of this story. That could be a very tragic ending of then I was really broke. Then I had no job. Then I said, woe is me. Then I got let go, whatever it was. But I knew that I wanted to make money from my computer. I knew that there was a way. If there's a will, there's a way. I knew that other people were doing it. What's available for them is available for me. I knew that I had just opened up to somebody who knew something that I didn't know. I didn't understand money, Kayla did. And I was honest about how I wanted to make it. I wanted to make it by talking about manifesting and mindset and working from my computer. When this woman had to let us go, she treated me very well, really took me under her wing and supported me to become an incredible coach. And then she had to let us go. And when she let us go, Kayla and I looked at one another and said, should we do this thing? Should we create a course off of our two passions? Mine being mindset and manifesting, hers being money. I am a teacher. I know how to make courses. I know how to do stuff online. It's very simple for me. I know how to get students or learners to an outcome. I know how to make a teaching experience enjoyable. I know how to capture people's attention. I've had to do this all through my teaching career. And I taught teenagers. So like if teenagers are bored, your day is going to be miserable. I knew how to hold the attention and keep the energy and make curriculum exciting. So I said to Kayla, we should make a course. Put it online. She said, yes, manifesting money. Everybody wants to manifest either money itself or things that cost money. Now, here is the third piece. This is what Mike was like, that is genius. And this is what most people are missing. We made this out of 110% pure excitement. We did not look at how somebody else made their Manifesting Money Masterclass course. We did not hold ourselves back with, we don't have the tech, we don't have the website, we don't have an Instagram, we don't have an email list, we don't have the following. We went guns a-blazing, all in, full throttle of let's tell everybody that we know that we're going to do this and ask them to tell everybody they know. It was just our friends and family and personal Instagram followers, colleagues, people that we've met along the way up to like our 34 years of life at this time, 34, 35 years. I told cousins, I told past students, I told parents of teachers, I told parents of kids that I taught. I told people that I bartended with. Kayla told her past colleagues, her cousins, so on and so forth. That's the third thing. We went in with this with no expectation, pure excitement and fun. Some strategy, yeah. We knew that the course would be 4 weeks. We knew what we would deliver each week. We figured out with old pal Google, how do you take Stripe payment? How do you collect a payment? How can we put this off of a landing page so that people can actually sign up with us? We got to work figuring out the need to know information, but not once did we come at this with, we better have this many people sign up. We're going to be let down if we don't. We need to make this much money. What if this doesn't work out? None of that. We went in full excitement. So we go in full excitement and we price it at a price point that, again, we kind of just made up, but we asked ourselves, what would we pay for this? What would we pay for 4 weeks of learning how to manifest money? $189 seemed like a pretty solid price point. Again, with no expectation, we launched it. And on that day that we launched it, we had 50 people sign up. Now, out of those 50 people, were a good handful of them my cousins? Yes. Kayla's cousins? Yes. Past students, parents that I had taught? Yes. It didn't matter who these people were. They wanted to learn Manifesting Money Masterclass with us because they knew I loved manifesting, the people that knew me, and the people that knew Kayla knew she loved money, and that this sounded like we were all in and so confident and it was going to be so much fun that $189 seemed like a no-brainer. So on that day, you can do the math. $189 times 50 people is just shy of $10,000. It's like we called it a $10,000 launch because it's just so shy of $10,000. $10,000, and I'm telling you, I thought I won the fucking lottery. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe that we just made that much money in a day. I have had 3 credit cards racked up to $14,000 of debt. And I, as a teacher, had made max at the highest I was paid with the most experience I had up to this point, after taxes and benefits and paying into teacher pension and all that. I had maybe walked away at my max pay at $5,000 a month. And that was like hustle and grind, report cards, grading, after hours, long days, years into the profession, 6 years of university to back that up, to maybe have had a $5,000 month. And we just made $10,000 in a day. I'm telling you, that motivation, that was enough for me to say, I am never, ever going back and relying on somebody else giving me a paycheck. If there is no cap on what I can earn as an entrepreneur, I will never identify as broke ass teacher ever again. And so that's my very quick story on how I went from broke ass teacher with 3 credit cards, maxed out $14,000 of debt, to going full throttle, looking for the proof, opening up to somebody, telling them what I wanted, and creating something out of something I loved and I was excited about. Put that out there, had a $10,000 launch that was fuel to the fire. And I've never looked back. And here we are 5 years later. And I feel like we are crushing it. There are days where I feel like, yeah, we could be doing more. We could be making more. We could be selling more. We could be in front of more people. But then when I reflect on broke ass teacher 5 years ago, I am so proud of how far I've come. I'm so proud of all the identity shifts that I've had, all of the money I've made, all the debt I've paid off, all the people I've helped, all the experiences I've had. That wouldn't have happened if I didn't decide back in that classroom in April of 2016, I'm going to give this up and go try something new. Do you know how many people want to give up their teaching job? How many people want to give up their 9 to 5? How many people want to leave the relationship or leave the city or get out of the situation that they're currently in, and they don't because they're afraid? I was afraid too. I felt every single fear. I knew that I was disappointing all of the closest people in my life, that everybody was disappointed, that I wasn't going to be Nicole the teacher because that's what I'd worked so hard to be. And everybody said I was such a great teacher. And sure, I probably was a really incredible teacher. I'll own that. I loved the kids and I loved teaching by nature. But that doesn't mean that I'm not allowed to change my mind. And that doesn't mean that you're not allowed to change your mind. And I'm telling you, the only way to get from where you are to where you want to go is to make the decision right now that you're going to do that. It will not shift until you decide to shift. Everything outside of you is just a reflection of what you think and believe and feel on the inside. So if you want who you're in a relationship, when you look outside of your own eyeballs to the person laying next to you in bed, if you want that to change, you've got to decide that you're going to change it. If you want the amount of money in your bank account to change, and you want to do that through your business, through your courses, through your speaking, through whatever it is, and you want somebody to reach out to you and make that happen, you have to change within and believe that you're the type of person that, of course, they would reach out to. This all comes down to your inner identity and the decisions that you make today. So my hope, my intention is that you've listened to this podcast and you hear in a short 20-minute clip how I can do it and how you can do it. I'm literally no different than you. I'm not more special. I don't have something you don't have. I had the courage to try something new. At the end of the day, if my adventures didn't work out for me, if I wasn't courageous, if I didn't feel the fear and go for it anyway, I guess I could have just decided to go back and get another teaching job or pick up a few waitressing jobs or take on more yoga. There's always work available for you, but I think so many of you get freaked out that the only way that you can make money is the way that you're making money right now, that the only way you can provide for your family is the way that you're doing it right now. And I'm telling you, there is an entire fucking universe of possibilities out there, and you're getting stuck on the one way. So I want you to ask yourself today, what do I really want? What decision am I going to make today that's going to support me to get there? And am I willing to feel the fear and do it anyway? Okay, have a great week, everyone.